It's okay, we've been here before. Carry on the light, they won't know it hurts more. We can pull apart time, this will last forever. You should learn to be kind. It always ends up fine. It's okay, we've been here before. Carry on the light, they won't know it hurts more. It's okay, we've been here before. Carry on the light, they won't know it hurts more.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the HP Podcast, episode number 377. I just looked at the show notes, and Dave added a title after I made a different title on the YouTube feed, but that's okay. We don't care. I'm Ben, and with me here today are the boys, coming back from his worldwide vacation, which is the reason he was off, not because he had to work weird shifts. Bando.
I've awoken from my eternal slumber. I feel like shit. No, I feel good, boys. I'm glad to be back. I'm glad Dave said something. I was going to say something. I had a late start. My sleep schedule is completely botched, so I've been sleeping at weird hours. But I'm doing good. I'm really glad to be back and see the boys.
How many weeks in a row will you be back?
I'll have to look. I think because of our plans outside of the podcast, I'm not going to make it next week.
I would know if you had ever given us a calendar of your dates.
I know. Yeah, I thought about
that. Ben.
We-
We should ask for a calendar.
Mm.
That's a good idea.
It just sounded like a lot of work, and I thought, it's best to keep them guessing. That way it can be surprising. Like, oh wow, this is so awesome. You're able to join us or whatever.
Yeah, well, when my kids asked me why aren't you at our soccer practices, I was like, because Brandon didn't give me a schedule, so you can tell.
Oh, that's true. That's true. That's true.
I'm just messing with you. What's up?
Nothing, man. I just had a ungodly amount of McDonald's.
Oh, nice.
So
What's
my
an
body.
ungodly amount of McDonald's? Can you?
Yeah. I'll give you the rundown of my order here. A fillet of fish with tartar sauce.
Yeah, Brandon's like the filet of fish guy.
Yeah. And Big Mac sauce on the filet of fish and tartar.
sandwich.
Don't sleep on it.
Yeah.
Don't sleep on it. 2 McDoubles and a McCrispy, and a large Coke Zero.
No French fries, eh?
You know, I do love French fries, I do. But most of the time, I just want another sandwich.
That's fair. Yeah.
But every time I have the French fries, I love them. I'm like, these are the best. McDonald's does have the best, undoubtedly. These other places have tried to catch up here and there with, Wendy's saying, "Oh, we got bigger, better fry." They're still not as good. They're just not. But yeah, so I'm gonna be feeling this in about, well, probably by the time the show ends. But yeah, I'm doing really good, boys. Doing really, really good. Playing a game that I'm going to talk about later that I've been waiting for a very long time. And yeah, I'm here with the boys, hanging out with my lady a lot, doing fun things when I can if I'm not at work. It's good. Life's good, boys.
I'm glad to hear it. Davey, how are you? But first, Radic would like to say, Dave, this is a $5 Canadian super chat. So this is like $3 US on the line.
Thank you, Radic.
Dave, thoughts on Iceman and the other 2 albums he dropped? I assume he means Drake. And how proud are you that Drake is showcasing the beauty of Toronto around the world?
He's back. He's back.
By the way, thank you, Radic, for the super chat.
Yes, thank you. And he's advocating for Battlefront 3 in his new music. So I think he's doing our work for us, which is great. So yeah, I mean, we waited a long time for the response to Kendrick, and we finally got it, and I think it was everything we hoped and dreamed for. So shout out to the Iceman. He did it.
Dave, what do you make of this? I haven't seen 7 million clips on Twitter about his dunks on Kendrick, so that must mean that wasn't very good.
So Twitter doesn't decide, history.
I mean, I saw 7 million clips about Kung Fu Kenny.
Is not writ on X. So
Yeah.
I think the opposite of that is true, actually.
Yeah. Drake kind of is embodying the whole quantity over quality with these 3 albums. He would much rather put out, Chud Slop.
Dude, you beat me to the punch.
Canada Slop. 40-year-old lover boy slop. Than anything worth anything. Double entendres aside, it's trash. Every clip I've heard from every song, there's a couple good beats because, he didn't make the beats. He probably didn't even write the music. He just sings over it.
Oh, but Kendrick does.
You look it up.
Kendrick doesn't make his beats.
Kendrick doesn't make his beats.
Yeah.
Kendrick is a vocalist and Drake is a vocalist. One of them sounds objectively good. The other sounds objectively bad. End of story.
I agree with that.
Wholeheartedly.
I totally agree that one of them sounds
language,
objectively good and one that sounds objectively bad. That's true. Yeah. Good point. Dave, thanks for making it for me.
Brandon, you do realize... Yeah. So he somehow managed to put out 3 albums in 3 different genres, and they all sucked. So it doesn't really matter which genre he's going for. You know what? I'm paying the troll toll right now. I'm not doing this. But part of me does
we got
actually
paid $5 Canadian to do this. Okay.
Part of me does actually believe. I think it's like as an American, I understand like patriotism and like the idea of that. I think something in Radic has this like yearning for this Canadian man. And there's no reason or logic to it. But he will defend him till the end.
Yeah, I mean...
No. Hold on. So Radic is trolling because he knows you two will defend Kendrick Lamar to the end. Because you're wired...
No, I wouldn't defend him to the end.
In front of this man to receive a bullet that's been shot by Radic.
You're putting words in our mouths.
I'm not. No, I'm making it clear for you and everybody else what's happening here.
I'm trying to help the bullet get a different direction. I'm not trying to take it.
There's albums of Kendrick that I don't like as much.
Yeah, for sure. Brandon, before you beat me to...
He's with Radic. No. He's in on it too. He has this Canadian patriotism for Drizzy Drake too. I bet you like that he iced out those chairs at the Raptors Stadium, didn't you?
I think I made a comment about it.
You did. Like it. Yeah. Brandon wouldn't have known because he wasn't here, but you did. I'm just going to keep giving you shit relentlessly, even though it's not your fault.
Did Kendrick try to convince EA to make Battlefront 3? No. Drake did.
How would I know? He's humble
God.
enough to do it on his own.
What's
like, and
amazing?
quiet.
What's amazing, Dave, is that would have been the best thing that he's ever done. That would have been the best thing that Drake has ever done if he in fact did that.
Yeah. That's a pretty good thing to accomplish, I think.
Yeah, so he should just stick to advocating for old games and not making music.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying. I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. I agree.
I dropping the fake flame war here for a minute. I don't really give a shit about it, but I did hear. I haven't fully listened to his albums. I did hear a few tracks off of them, and again, I just heard a few tracks. He sounded like I think he sounded more mature in his previous stuff. Like Brandon said, the beats were good, but I just genuinely was like, "Is it like it, dude? It's been years. This kind of."
Yeah, I don't know. I don't listen to Drake.
Yeah, the bars are ass.
Yeah.
The bars are ass. Straight booty cheeks. Poop from a butt. That's what it is. It's poop from a butt. That's what he should have called every album.
Brandon, before you drop
Poop Man.
before you drop Chud Slop, I was gonna say, I think when you drop 3 albums at the same time and no one's talking about any of them, it's called Chud Slop. But
Yeah. It's called
that was the facade back on, by the way.
yeah, it's called shit maxing.
Cool. Welcome to the show, everyone.
Dave's mad now. Hold up. Look at him. He's mad. He's mad because
Dave has ADHD, dude. It's not. He can't stay focused.
I'm just looking at him. He's lamenting right now. He's not going to be the same for the rest of the show because we started off with this.
Dave, what do you think about this next story? Fuck you.
I'll tell you what I think.
I don't even know where I was gonna go.
This is Handsome Phantom.
It's not called that.
This is the HP podcast. Dude, I'm off. You got me all
It's been
flustered.
377 episodes, of which you've been to about 350 of them.
Ronald
You can't remember the name of
McDonald.
the show?
Ronald McDonald's tainting my brain right now.
It's gonna
I'm
taint your
doing
taint.
well. I'm doing well, Ben. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it.
There's so much salt coursing through my veins right now. I can't think straight.
No, the salt isn't coursing through your veins. It's clogging them.
It's trying its best.
This is the HP podcast, which stands for Handsome Phantom, also hit points. I don't know why I just went into the meaning of those words or letters, but hello, welcome. If you want to, you can hang out with us on Discord at handsomephantom.com/Discord. You can also hang out with us, and that's totally for free, by the way. You can go over to Patreon, sign up on Patreon. You add free early access to the audio version, where the majority of you guys hang out for some reason. Come watch us on Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. live. Hang out and get into the madness in the chat that currently is mostly Reddit trying to troll us, but with money this time, so it was more worth it. A lot of times when you see people super chatting, it's because there's so many people chatting, they want to get their message across. Radic just came in here, first thing, dropped $5 and was like, yo, here's the shittiest take you've ever heard. I respect it. Like, I respect that a lot,
That's
actually.
kind of a power move.
Yeah. We talk about video games and other things, not music, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Although we talk about everything. So. Do you guys want to talk about those video games that I mentioned?
Sure.
I don't,
Well,
really, honestly.
we'll just wrap it up.
Welcome back, Brandon. We're done. IGN reports open world Lord of the Rings RPG and a new Kingdom Come game confirmed in development at Warhorse Studios. Boys, when I woke up this morning and saw this tweet that Lockmort posted, he posted the tweet in a Discord. I was so excited. I can't even tell you how excited I was. Embracer owned developer confirmed that rumors that it was making a Lord of the Rings RPG, although it described it as an open world Middle-earth RPG. The suggestion then is the game may not be set within the Lord of the Rings era of Tolkien's fantasy setting, but it seems likely to follow the template established by the studio's hugely popular Kingdom Come Deliverance games. Indeed, it's easy to see why Warhorse is a great fit for a new Lord of the Rings game. Kingdom Come Deliverance is a story-driven open-world RPG set in medieval Bohemia, and while the Kingdom Come Deliverance games pride themselves on their historical accuracy, you can imagine this Middle-earth RPG as Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, with a dash of fantasy thrown in to give it the Lord of the Rings feel. They haven't said it's going to be anything like those other games, by the way. So just putting that out there. They said a new Kingdom Come adventure is in development. The assumption is that this is Kingdom Come Deliverance 3, but that's not confirmed yet. It could be a spinoff of some description. We're excited to tell you more when the time is right, Warhorse added. The news comes as Embracer announced plans to spin off Fellowship Entertainment, a new business unit designed to double down on the company's biggest franchises. As part of the announcement, Embracer said it will be more actively exploring external partnerships around its well-known IP, such as Saints Row, Legacy of Kain, Deus Ex, Red Faction, The Mask, Thief, and Time Splitters. Boys, I want to get into everything else, but has anybody else thought about Red Faction in like a decade? I love the Red Faction games. Dave says, yeah. Oh, Dave just knows everything. Okay.
There was that one game where or maybe they were all about destruction, but I think the one on like the PS3 I had a really good time with. Yeah, it's time for Red Faction to come back, I think. People are talking about space more these days too, so, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
That's my analysis on the situation.
Yeah, great analysis, Dave. Brandon, what do you think? No, Dave, how do you feel about this? I don't know if you're much of a Warhorse fan or a Lord of the Rings fan for that matter.
I think this is excellent news. I actually had a friend who his birthday was on the weekend, and he celebrated by going with his wife to a really old school cinema, and they did the Lord of the Rings trilogy marathon in like a movie theater, which I thought was really cool. So
yeah,
I really want to do that, but I don't know. I think Lord of the Rings as an IP has kind of been underutilized when it comes to gaming. I guess the most successful games we had were the Mordor games. I know those Two Towers games back in like the PS2 era were pretty strong as well and well regarded. But I think considering the how popular this IP is, it's surprising that we haven't gotten more kind of big budget, big production Lord of the Rings games. And it sounds like Warhorse could be the studio to pull that off. I would imagine they have a pretty good sized team considering how successful the two Kingdom Come games have been, and I imagine they have a decent budget to put up behind it, especially with Embracer and their backing. So yeah, I don't know. This seems like the studio for the job. I just hope we get something that's kind of what I like I'm picturing like a Witcher-esque type game, like open world RPG elements, but in the Lord of the Rings or kind of the Middle Earth timeline. So this is really exciting. It's probably going to be a long time before we hear anything, but I also think with kind of the industry's course correction away from live service and back towards more big budget traditional single player experiences, that the time could be right for something like this to really pop off. So yeah, again, I think it's going to be a long time before we hear anything, but there's nothing but good to be gleaned from this. So yeah, keep going, Warhorse. We want to see it.
Well, this is a really dangerous subject because if you get me talking about video games plus Lord of the Rings, it's over. But I do want to go through. Metacritic did an article last year in July of the Lord of the Rings video games ranked worst to best, and I just want to go through it because I didn't even know some of these games existed, even with as big of a Lord of the Rings fan as I am. Number 25 in last place. There are more than this, but there were certain qualifications. Last place would be Lord of the Rings Gollum. He got a 33 Metacritic score.
No surprise there.
Lord of the Rings Conquest that was back on the Xbox 360. I played that game. I don't remember if it was any good or not. There was an iOS game called Kingdoms of Middle Earth. Then there was Tales of the Shire last year that apparently wasn't very good, but I still am interested in it for some reason. On the Wii, there was Lord of the Rings Aragorn's Quest. I did play that one. Lord of the Rings Fellowship of the Ring on Xbox, PC, PlayStation, Game Boy Advance as well. Return to Moria, which I played. Did you play that with me, Dave?
Yeah.
Played a little bit of that last year. The Hobbit that came out in 2003. Lord of the Rings War in the North in 2011. Lord of the Rings Tactics. This is one I don't remember. It was only on PSP. Came out in 2005. Middle Earth Defense, iOS once again. The Third Age. on Game Boy Advance, War of the Ring on PC, Guardians of Middle Earth on the Xbox 360 generation, Lego Hobbit, great game. The adventure card game on the Switch, Lord of the Rings Third Age console version, so not the handheld version. Battle for Middle Earth 2 on the 360. I played that one as well. Then you got the Middle Earth Shadow of War in 2017, Lego Lord of the Rings in 2012, Battle for Middle Earth in 2004, Two Towers in 2002, the best Lord of the Rings game, hands down in my opinion. Shadow of Mordor in 2014, Return of the King in 2003, Lord of the Rings Online, played a lot of that one, too much of it if I'm being honest with you, 2007. And there you have it. Sorry, I needed to do that for myself. Why is everyone just silent or staring at me?
I'm just thinking about what you said.
Brandon, shut up and tell me what you think.
As a new convert to the Lord of the Rings IP,
If you say a single bad word,
no, dude, I love it. I think it's fantastic. I think it's leaps and bounds above this Star Wars slot that y'all keep trying to say is any good. But,
I'm okay with the comparison of I love Star Wars, but compared to Lord of the Rings, it's slop. Yes.
That's what I'm saying. In comparison, Star Wars isn't bad. But like those are the two things that everyone has always tried to get me into, and I love Lord of the Rings. I love it. I think it's wonderful. I agree with Dave. A grossly underutilized intellectual property over the years, albeit even with the properties that you mentioned. I feel like a lot of the games mentioned haven't really captured the essence of what it is to be. I haven't played a lot of the things that you mentioned, but I feel like the Shadow games did a decent job of that. It's a very interesting take. Fun game. Incredibly fun, both of them. And I think that Warhorse would be a studio that would be good for this sort of game generally. And they could do good by it. I'm a little bit hesitant, though, because I feel like there's been studios that are incredibly successful doing an IP that they've nailed down. And we've not experienced 007 First Light yet. And I don't want to think that it's bad, but when I learned that IO is making a 007 game, I said, this is a match made in heaven. Now, I don't want to say I think it looks bad from what we've seen. I just think I'm going to be disappointed based on what I've seen, and not that it's going to be bad. I'm just worried that sometimes when I think a match made in heaven for a game with an established IP, I think they were really good at doing what they did, and that doesn't take anything away from them. And I think they could do it, but I'm just a little hesitant because I feel like sometimes matchups almost seem too good, and that they're good at doing what they do, but that doesn't mean that they're going to be good at making something that's already established. You know what I mean? Even if it seems like it's apples to apples, sometimes I feel like it's apples to oranges. And I think that's part of the reason that, this IP has not been farmed out, which seemed underutilized, with, how the market is now. You take a popular IP and you have a billion fucking games of it. There are very few games, or there is very few IP in existence that's as popular as this one. And how it hasn't been farmed out more than it has is surprising to me. But yeah, we just have a very low amount of quality, the ones that have been put out. So yeah, I think this is good generally. I just am feeling a bit cautious, as I explained here, about me feeling like it might be a really good matchup. Not to say that they couldn't pull it off, but I also think that, what was it, Embracer talking about the other IP? I do want to mention something else that was stated in this article real quick about Embracer said it will more actively be exploring internal partnerships around its well-known IPs. We don't need any more Saints Row. We don't need any more Saints Row. I love Saints Row. I love it. Okay, it was perfect time capsule of what it was at the time. It was satirical. They tried to do a new one and it was trash. We don't need that ever again. Let's just keep it the way it was. It was perfect. Saints Row the Third was peak. Everything after that was downhill. That'll be all. But yeah, I think this is good generally. And I'm glad that they're working on something new, Kingdom Come Deliverance. Even if it's something that I didn't resonate with, or the first one. I own the first one. Locke actually gifted it to me. I've not tried them. I think they'd maybe be a little bit slower pace than I would like, a little bit more sim-like. I don't know if that makes sense. It's not really a sim, but it kind of is like medieval sim, like kind of. And it's very open-ended. You could do a lot of stuff in it, but I don't think I would really vibe with that necessarily. Maybe the push of that extra IP in there that I'm interested in would kind of get me over the edge, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I don't know. I think this is good generally good, and I hope they can do it, because whenever you have IP like this, the expectations are above the roof. They're not even through the roof. They're above the roof. So yeah, I want them to do their own thing, and it's really hard to do that whenever you're next to an IP that is so meaningful to so many people. I think they can do it, and I hope they can do it. And I want it to succeed, but yeah, we'll see.
I just think it's important for you guys to know that I just downloaded Lord of the Rings Online while you were talking, Brendan.
Oh my God.
I don't know if I'm actually going to play it, but I want it there in case I get the urge. I spent a lot of time on that game back in 2012, I want to say. 2011.
20
like that.
It came out in 2007. You were playing it in 2012.
Oh, it came out in 2007? Yeah,
I
definitely.
thought that's what you said. Lord of the Rings Online, 2007. Isn't that what you said?
I might have. Yeah, I'm trying to think of where I was. I was in college, so it wasn't 2012.
April 24th, 2007.
That's when it was. 2007, 2008, something like that. Anyway, anything else to say on this? I think it's awesome.
Yeah, it's good. This is good. We need more good Lord of the Rings games.
According to IGN, Detroit become human dev Quantic. I don't know why they don't just say Quantic Dream. Anybody who is a real gamer knows they made Detroit become human.
Never. I was gonna say people that are real gamers usually don't go to IGN, but anyway.
Oh my gosh. Quantic Dream kills live service game 3 months after early access launch. Insists Star Wars Eclipse continues as planned. They've canceled Spellcasters Chronicles just 3 months after its early access launch. The French game company released MOBA Spellcasters Chronicles in its first ever free-to-play game in February, but it struggled for players and was met with a mixed user review rating on Steam. According to SteamDB, it peaked at 888 concurrent players at launch, but had a 24-hour peak of just 54. Rather than see the early access period through to 1.0, Quantic Dream decided to kill Spellcasters Chronicles now, signaling layoffs.
Yikes.
And they confirmed Star Wars Eclipse is still on track. Boys, I generally consider myself fairly well-versed in what's going on with video games. I think all three of us do. Maybe we're not playing as many games as we used to sometimes because we're older and have jobs and families or girlfriends or whatever, and more responsibilities and everything. But I like to think we're all pretty knowledgeable. I don't know what the hell this game is. I've never heard of it before this moment. Dave, you look like you're right on board with me.
Thank you. I feel validated. I have show notes here so I read every article and I make some notes on my opinions and things I want to say. And the first note I had for this one is hands up if you've even heard of this one. And I was afraid when I wrote that you two idiots were going to be like, oh, I love that. I've heard this game. This is so disappointing, but I feel good now that that's not the case. But we've talked about these live service games in the past and how I think they're made very quickly, and the strategy that the publishers and developers put behind them are like, if this game doesn't succeed or show signs of success within the first very short period of time, they pull the cord super quickly. So it's like, you need to be a success right out the gate, or we're not sinking any more money into this game, because stats show that if a live service title doesn't do gangbusters right out the gate, then it's just going to die. And I think along with that, there's been more of a persistence to under promote and under market your game. I think the bet with a lot of these games is they will go viral, or the right streamer will pick it up with the right audience, and the traditional sort of approach to promoting and marketing a product don't apply for these kind of titles. So this is Quantic Dream. This is a big studio. They've developed big games that a lot of people know about. So the fact that the three of us have not heard of this game, and I don't think any of us are big on MOBAs, but still, a MOBA coming from Quantic Dream, like I feel like one of us should have known about this game. Just goes to show that this laissez-faire approach to marketing, just because it's a live service game with a short leash, it doesn't work. People have to know about your game, and you have to promote it in a very traditional sense if you want any semblance of a player base out of the gate. And I know it's early access, and I know, you know, you try to bet on those early adopters, but it's just not enough. And this is a hyper competitive subgenre of gaming that if you don't invest that money in getting new eyes on your game, you're going to fail. And I don't care if you're Rockstar, maybe that's an exception, but you have to market your game. And I said in the last story where I think there's this sort of slow course correction back to a more traditional kind of video game where it's single player narrative focus, 40 hours, AAA, big budget. And I hope that with that course correction also comes a bit more of a regression back to a traditional sense of marketing, which is not relying on a big streamer or virality potential or something like that, but more getting your games on websites and getting, content creators and outlets talking about your game, because I think the new approach is kind of failing a bit, and the value of getting a big streamer with a big audience to stream your game, even for an extended period of time, is starting to come into question, because there's a lot of people these days who are watching games on Twitch, but they're not buying them. So I don't really think this approach has legs, and I hope that's one thing that we start to see more of as we move it in the next generation of gaming. This idea that, you know, you need to market your game in a traditional sense and not just hope that it catches fire and word of mouth drives people to your game.
Dave, I have to agree with pretty much everything you've said there. I think that the few examples we've seen of games, we talk about this with indie games all the time, right? Like I'm going to make a game that is going to catch fire and that's going to blow up, even though I'm a solo dev and did zero marketing. Now, a lot, like I think about people compare themselves to Balatro a lot of times. Balatro, of course, had a lot of marketing. So that's, you know, especially after they saw that it was going to catch fire. So that's, I'm not saying they didn't, but like people expect that to be the case because they've seen a few games do that. That's not how things work generally. Like that's just not how it goes. And that's the same thing with these massive games, especially things like MOBAs. There's a reason that games oftentimes double their production budget so that they can for their marketing budget. These huge AAAs never make it out of the gate if they don't, and especially a game that relies on having a ton of people playing it for matchmaking and anything that's online as the main feature of the game has to come out of the gate swinging. So I think it sucks that this happened. I think probably part of it was they shot themselves in the foot. The fact that the three of us have never heard of this game is damning evidence. I'm not saying we're all knowing, but I'm on Steam for my job and pleasure almost, if not every single day. And the fact that I never heard of it, saw it anywhere out in the world even, is crazy. But I will say this. I respect Quantic Dream in some sense because instead of just cutting the team back and trying to make this thing go, they were like, we're pulling the plug. It's off today. That doesn't stop the 25 people who are currently playing the game from still playing it, even though it's not even available anymore on Steam. But they were like, we're done. Hopefully it doesn't result in layoffs, whatever, they pivot. But even if they do, I still think it's the right overall call for the studio rather than reducing staff and continuing to drag this thing out and disappointing players for longer. From a player perspective, I think it's the right move. But Brandon, what do you think? I know you're really super into MOBAs and love playing them.
Yeah, I was kind of where you guys are at. What the fuck is this? What is this game? And where did it come from? It is a shame that a studio like Quantic Dream, that is known for single-player games and a very unique narrative style or direction, would take the bait. And the bait's not really working anymore. The people who are in the know of these video games or claim to be in the know or running these studios saw the golden ticket of the free-to-play model, and the illusion's wearing off, boys, every single day. Unfortunately, it is at the cost of many studios either being shut down and employees losing their jobs, but the illusion is wearing off. I'm with you absolutely, Dave. This was seen as the golden ticket for years, and for every one of these games that comes out and fails, high profile or not, the illusion is gone. And it changes every single day to be more gone. So, yeah, I hate that it's at the expense of this, but I just wonder how many more of these need to happen before the actual full shift takes effect. You know what I mean? And it's sad because they make good games, and nobody asked for this. Nobody asked for Quantic Dream to make this. They just saw the illusion of money, the illusion of cosmetics and constant revenue stream, and maybe they had some good ideas. Maybe the game was fine, but the reality is you can't bet on the outliers, and that's what so many of these people do. Even the indie devs, like you're talking about, Ben, who said they're going to make a smash out hit. You compare yourselves to the outliers, and you can't do that. Those are the exceptions, not the rules. And I feel like the veil is lifted, and it's lifting more every day. So yeah, it sucks to see. Like I said, Detroit, amazing. It's actually the only game I've played from them, and it's one of my favorites of the PS4 generation. And I've heard very similar things about Beyond Two Souls and Heavy Rain. I think I'd like those as well if I tried them. But yeah, sad. It's sad. But I also agree with you, Ben, that I guess pulling the plug early and having to let people go is better than continuing to drain the resources from this talented company to kind of cut your losses, I guess. It's sad, but I think in the long run, they're probably going to save themselves financially from continuing to fall deeper into debt by trying to support something that's just not viable.
I one time accidentally, I've played League in the past, like just because friends wanted me to, and I tried it out with them, but I never really got into it. But I realized that I actually was very hooked on a MOBA before I really knew what a MOBA really was, or because it was different. And that was Monday Night Combat. Do you guys remember Monday Night Combat?
No.
Look it up. I wonder if you remember it.
Sounds vaguely
It
familiar.
reminds me of TF2 a little bit, just because of the art style, not because of the game.
Yeah, I see what you're saying about the...
I was like kind of hooked on that game when it came out. I don't remember why, but I played it a lot. Anyway, I have a question for you guys. There are obviously an infinite amount of types of games that can be made. There's nothing new under the sun, but there's innovation still. Things are happening that haven't happened in exactly that sequence before. But I feel like it is completely unrealistic for a few genres for anyone to ever succeed in. Again, and that is battle royales and MOBAs. The battle royales and MOBAs that are there that are still there have been there for years. They're really good, or they're really entrenched, and they're going to continue to be there. And anything that tries to compete with them on a larger level, I think it's just going to fail. Like, I hate to say that sorry, if your dream was to make the next best MOBA, unless you work at Valve and you're making Deadlock, it's probably not happening. You guys agree with that or disagree?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's mostly a good take. I feel like it is possible for something to get through, but the chances
Of course,
are
it's
like
always possible, yeah.
0.01. You know what I mean?
Right.
So effectively zero. I think it's like with a lot of things, like with anything that you look at in life, like regional grocery stores. Like how difficult would it be for a new gas station to open up that's a mom and pop shop when Shell moves in and Sheetz moves in and Gecko moves in across the street? So it's that kind of principle that I think you're kind of describing, is that whenever things get big enough and a genre becomes saturated enough, the chances of busting into it are the chances of busting oh my are lower, significantly lower, like playing the lottery low. So
Yeah. Dave, what do you think? Do you think I'm off base?
No, I agree. In fact, it goes a step further, and I think if Brandon snapped his fingers today and Warzone, Apex, and Fortnite ceased to exist, I think the vast majority of the people who played those games would not go and seek out another battle royale. I think they'd stop playing video games or play something else. But I think the people that are playing these games the most are playing it because their friends are playing it, and I don't necessarily think that this game, outside of the kind of the ones that monopolized it or oligopolized it, I don't think it has a whole lot of staying power. So yeah.
On to the next story. This comes from GameSpot. It says Mina the Hollower is creating an unexpected problem for other games. Yacht Club Games Shovel Knight is one of the most widely loved platformers out there, with almost 10,000 overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam alone. I added the alone part, they didn't. It's not hard to see why game developers are pushing their release dates either side of YCG's upcoming action platformer, Mina the Hollower, especially games in a similar genre. Boardware's Imurum was originally set for a May 29 release date, the same day as Mina, but in a video posted to YouTube, the studio explained the game will now be released slightly earlier on the 25th. We have no other choice but to change the launch date. Devolver Digital has also now posted a similar video, this time postponing the launch of Dark Scrolls to June 22nd. They said originally we were going to release Dark Scrolls on May 28th, but it turns out we're going to be a little bit busy playing Mina the Hollower when it comes out because we have our priorities in the right place, and I already requested it off from work. As Yacht Club Games, David D'Angelo explains to GameSpot, though there is originally supposed to be a little more direct collaboration between the games. We worked with Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo to try to make sure we picked a date that didn't conflict with anyone, and we landed on 12 a.m. Eastern, May 29th. I guess that didn't help. We were already in discussion with Devolver and Dark Scrolls team for a month or so about how our releases were coming up, and the Steam bundle might be cool to help promote the launches. They announced their date on May 5th. We announced on May 6th. Then mid-email chain discussing the bundles, we realized we'd essentially picked the same release date, which I followed up by sending profuse apologies to Doing Soft for screwing up. They were totally cool with it, talked, and decided to push theirs back. Guys, I've talked about this before, but I think it's How to Market a Game has an article around when Silksong came out that talks about how much should I be worried about Silksong in my indie game. And it basically talked about how kind of a similar situation, a big, groundbreaking game that people have been waiting for a long time is coming out. People move their dates. Some people don't move their dates. And they concluded that the people who didn't move their dates were totally fine. Ended up being totally fine. But you don't know what would have happened if the people who did move their dates had stayed there. Because there's a lot of factors for that and everything, but there's so many games and it's impossible to pick a date that doesn't conflict with anything and is the right date for your game and your development cycle and all that kind of stuff. But I wanted to know what you think, Brandon. First off, I'm sure nobody did this maliciously. It does kind of suck for people who are going to be in the same genre and only have X amount to spend on games a month.
Right.
But do you think it should be a matter of moving? Do you think it should be, I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I tend to agree with you. I do remember you talking about that Silksong comparison when we had talked about moving dates before with games. And I tend to agree with that. I think that moving a date, depending on the scope of the game you're talking about, will only do so much to actually influence how your game is received financially. I think that Yacht Club obviously, didn't do this on purpose, but I think that it's almost the responsibility of the titles that have less momentum to calculate around if they think that's necessary. I don't know. I just feel like in some ways, it's not going to make a difference either way, but I feel like if you're worried about a game that's bigger in scope and hype and size than yours, messing with your date, then you should be the one to move, not the other way around. I don't know. I just don't think it matters that much generally, but that's kind of my stance on it. I don't really have a very solid take on this, other than, obviously it sucks if they do lose business because of Yacht Club's game coming out, but I don't really think it's going to be that big of a deal, to be honest with you, for them generally. I just don't. It's not, I just don't think it's that big of a deal.
Dave, I recently was talking to a developer who we had set their approximate launch date a long time ago. And then GTA moved their date and it's the same date. And they were like, should I move my date And my advice to them was, I can guarantee you're going to be one of like 5 games releasing that week. You should keep it because it's the best chance you have at visibility. Am I wrong? What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think indie developers, by and large, need to be aggressively strategic with their release date, and not just the date, but the day of the week and what else they're releasing around. And I think if I had to advise an indie developer on this sort of thing, it would be, set a release window, maybe set a release date unofficially internally, and then wait as long as possible before you announce that release date, because you never know the way things are going to shift. And I absolutely think that, despite how much marketing you do, despite how great your game is, if you release on the wrong day against the wrong competition, that will kill your game. Full stop. According to Circana, the average game, I think we've talked about this before, the average gamer purchases less than 1 game a month, with most players buying 2 or fewer games for the entire year. And I know Steam, which is kind of what we're talking about, generally appeals to a more hardcore gamer. But I really think that audience of gamer is getting older, and that means we're getting more money, but it also means we have less time for video games, and you have to be really smart about where you're putting your game. Over 21,000 games released on Steam in 2025. That's an average of 57 games per day, and a lot of those games on any given day you would never hear of. But you really have to look and not just, I applaud developers that stand behind their product and say my game can go up against any other. But if you choose a bad release date, once again, if your game is the best quality game and you've put the best marketing budget behind it, that will kill your game. That is a huge external factor that needs to be taken in consideration. And I honestly think that indie developers should wait as long as possible before cementing a release date and putting their game out, because things shift. So yeah, I think the Silk Song thing kind of sucked last year, the way they shifted. I don't think Team Cherry or Yacht Club Games owes anything else to their competition. They can do what they want, but I think as a small to average size indie developer, you have to be agile with these things. And I think shifting your release date because of an external factor like that is something you may have to do. So it sucks, but that's the reality of how competitive, Steam has gotten. So, yeah.
Dave, you talked about some of those numbers. The average game released on Steam, and there's like, what was it? What did we say? 1,800 games a month or something like that released last year.
21,000 in 2025.
21,000 total. Yeah, so like 1,800 a month. And I said this on a different podcast I was just on. Even if you strip out all the hentai games, you still got like 1,500 a month, or maybe there's more hentai games than I even realized. But
I would bet there would be.
Yeah. And it's just the average game released on Steam sells under 100 copies, the median, which is just insane to think about. So anything you can do to give your game an advantage is good. Now, when you're talking about a game coming from Devolver up against a Yacht Club Games game, doesn't make sense to shift. Probably just from a practical standpoint, and you can. But I still think that if you are a very small game that doesn't have a lot of visibility otherwise, you might have a better chance in those windows because everybody else is moving their dates. So I don't know. I think it's a nuance. It's going to be different for every game and every scenario, but it's a fun thing to think about. Not a fun thing to deal with when it comes up and happens to you, but it's a fun thing to think about. According to Kotaku, Sony is being sued for allegedly retaining substantial windfall generated by illegal tariffs. It's starting to feel like a new Sony lawsuit is dropping every other week. The latest is a class action complaint filed against PlayStation 5 maker Sony in the United States District Court for the Northern District of California. It accuses the company of retention of a substantial windfall generated by unlawful tariffs imposed by the federal government under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. That was a sentence and a half. According to the plaintiffs, Sony is set to obtain a double recovery windfall as a result of the Trump administration's tariff refunds, which they believe should be passed on to consumers since the price of the PlayStation consoles was increased in the same period to counter said tariffs. We talked a couple weeks ago about how people did this against Nintendo as well. Sony announced the price of the PlayStation consoles would be drastically increasing in the United States in August of 2025, and then again for a second time on May 27th, 2026. That's a week away. Get your PlayStations now if you haven't already. On April 20th, 2026, following the U.S. Supreme Court decision that the tariffs were unlawful, U.S. Customs and Border Protection created a tariff refund website to facilitate refunds for said tariffs to affected importers. To put in simpler terms, the plaintiffs are arguing that as Sony passed the cost to consumers by increasing the price of its consoles and is now set to receive refunds for said tariffs, it will essentially be double dipping, getting the extra money for selling them at higher prices and now getting big refunds from the government. I have a lot of thoughts about this. One, I totally get where the people filing these lawsuits are coming from. You got charged extra money due to something that was deemed illegal, then you shouldn't be charged that extra money. On the other side, anybody can raise their price for anything, anytime they want. That's capitalism, baby. It sucks sometimes and it's great sometimes, but that's what it is. That's the way we operate. And the other thing is that it's been, I guess, a month since that was unveiled. Sony has never made that quick action in a month in their entire history of existing. Most large, giant companies haven't. So even if they plan to make some kind of refund to people, do you really expect that it would be implemented and exercised by now? I know that UPS and some other people did it, but let's be real. You're talking like a couple bucks with those guys. Anyway, I don't know. I'm like, yeah, I agree. And also you suck for even saying this. Like I'm totally split down the middle. Dave, as the Canadian in the room, what do you think?
Yeah, caveat emptor, I guess. The second that you make that purchase, then you're owed nothing unless there's some binding breach in your contractual obligation. Does your PS5 not work? Does it do you have some legal means to return it? Other than that, buyer beware. I agree with you. I love the principled stance that these consumers are taking. But I at the end of the day, if you pay the price, you're choosing to pay that price. And even if this did progress further, I feel like the plaintiffs would have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the price increases were solely because of tariffs. And I feel like that's going to be really hard to prove, and it's probably really easy for Sony to just say, no, it was inflation. It was rising production costs. We can show you these things. We know what RAM is costing these days. So there's so many outs for Sony and Nintendo in these lawsuits that I don't really see this going anywhere. But, as I'm reading this, I'm wondering, like, I know we talked about Nintendo a couple weeks ago, but is this happening in other industries? It must, because a lot of stuff got more expensive in and around the time that Trump, went on his tariff craze. But I don't know. I'm not hearing about it at other places. In any case, it sucks. This is a shitty situation, but I don't think it's going to go anywhere. And if you choose to pay a price for a good or service, then I think, once you receive that good or service, then the transaction is finished. And I don't think you can come back and expect something because of external factors like this. So, yeah.
Brandon, if I'm a manufacturer and I get a quote that something is going to cost me $1,000 and it used to only cost me $500, and I raised the price by $500 and people buy it, but then the actual price for me to get it came in and it was lower than the $1,000. That's good on me, right? Like, I made more profit. I don't know. Maybe it's not a direct comparison, but what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. I see it for both sides. I mean, do I want Sony to succeed because I like them as a company, even though they make really bad decisions? Yes. But even in your example, as the person buying the product, it does suck. Yeah. But that's just kind of how things go. I mean, you never know how much anybody's paying for anything. I mean, that's just how anything you buy is. Most of the time you're paying the manufacturer is paying pennies for something you're paying 50x for you. You know what I mean? That's just how it goes, unfortunately. And the best thing you could do is make informed decisions and either wait or spend within your means. I don't know that I have anything that Dave didn't already say or is pretty concise, but yeah, I just think that shit timing. I don't know. Sometimes in life you just eat the shit sandwich, and that's just what happens. I mean, actually, a lot of times in life you just eat the shit sandwich. So, yeah, it just is, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I said, I'm very much on both sides of the fence about it, and I don't really know what the right answer is. But
Yeah.
if I mean, even when I go on Amazon and buy something, I don't expect that if it's $10 cheaper next week, I'm gonna get $10 back. Even though they will sometimes honor that, but not always. Like I don't know. It's like you chose to pay the price that they were charging at the time they were charging it, and they raised the price with advance notice, which is not something they have to do. I don't know. I think I'm on the capitalist side on this one, but I'm very much on the consumer side too. So yeah.
And that's kind of where I'm at, Ben. It is shitty.
Yeah.
It does feel awful. Like I'm not denying that for the consumer. It sucks, yes. And do I want Sony to be just draining money from people needlessly for a product that isn't even worth that much? In reality, no. But I mean, that's just when you buy something, that's how it goes, unfortunately. Sometimes you get fucked. Sometimes what you just bought goes on sale next week. And I hate it, but that's just kind of what happens. I don't know.
Yep. We didn't talk about this, but Sony just announced, or we didn't have this in the notes, but Sony also just announced that PS Plus is going up in the near future.
There is no need to have that shit. Well, I guess if you only have a console.
Yeah. And you want to play anything that requires any internet connectivity at all.
Ass.
But I just I saw somebody say this is the Concord tax. I'm like, probably not wrong, honestly.
Thanks, Hermie.
Yeah. All right, last news story. And Dave wrote this one. Dave writes the show notes for us, if anybody didn't know. And he always titles them. This one is titled "Shithead Canadian Kid Goes ham on Grandma's Credit Card in Roblox." This is from CP24.com. And it says, many children like to play video games, and they do so on their own tablet, computer, or even smartphone. While many can be downloaded and played for free, some allow you to purchase add-ons that, if you're not careful, can really add up. One grandmother is sharing her story after her 8-year-old grandson, Dominic just sounds, come on, who loves playing Roblox, began purchasing in-game accessories, racking up $2,000 in charges without her knowledge. He told CTV News, Roblox is the best game in the entire world. The young boy loves playing Roblox, an online platform where users play games, hang out with friends, and build their own virtual worlds, as well as getting hit on by pedophiles. I added that last part. While the game is free to use, Dominic purchased premium avatar items, tools, and clothing while playing the game and used his grandmother's card to make the purchases. Dang it, I'm pretty sure that word is like you get your video struck if you have that word in it that I just said.
What kind?
That one too. Let's just share it up. How did I get the purchases? How did I get access to her card? I went through her purse, Dominic explained. His grandmother told CTV News that the charges accumulated over a 2-month period last year. She doesn't blame her grandson, saying that he didn't understand he was spending real money. He's a smart little boy, and the fact that he was able to find out everything he needed to use the phone was unbelievable. They reached out to Roblox, but they were told there was no refunds.
Boys, this is the audience Call of Duty wants. Okay, this is what Activision is fighting for, tooth and nail, is to get this kind of audience. I swear to God, I'm making a joke, but honest to God, this is their golden ticket. This is it, boys. This is what they want. This is what Fortnite wants. This right here, $2,000. He's stealing the brain rot for $2,000. Tung 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 sahur. He's stealing tung 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 sahur. And yeah, this is the reason the video game industry sucks now, is because of stuff like this. I wish I was exaggerating, but in reality, it's just give this kid, I don't know, give him like Metal Gear Solid game, and he can't play anything but that for like 6 months. Give him that, and then if that doesn't cure him, then he's never allowed to play games again. That's the only punishment. Either that or like, Bloodborne or like Sekiro or something. Give him something that's truly difficult and good to play, And then we can reform them. We can reform them. The brain rot has not taken them fully yet.
My kids are 10 and 12, and I think they're smart kids, but they're not geniuses. At 8 years old, both of them knew that if I want something in Fortnite and it says it costs V-Bucks, that's real money.
Oh, that little shit knew.
Of course he did.
They
That's
said
what I'm
he's-
getting at.
They said he's smart. He's
No,
fucking
his
over
grandma
Granny.
said he's smart.
Fucking over Granny. She's probably on a fixed income. That's probably a month's worth of salary for her. And he's stealing the brain rot.
Dave, this seems like grandma's fault. It took her 2 months to find charges on her credit card.
Shit, I'm going to be a grandson now.
Her name is Lynn Ramsbottom.
Her name is Lim Ramsbottom.
I didn't read it intentionally.
Dude, CPT-24 is not real. This entire thing is fake. Ramsbottom
I didn't read it
is
intentionally
the
because I
last
saw it and I was like, I'm going to start laughing.
Yeah. Kid's a dickhead. Dominic is a dickhead name for a kid. Yeah.
name. That is true. Everything
If you're
about
8
this.
years old and named Dominic, you're probably stealing money from your grandma. That's just the way things go.
Yeah. I have nothing to add.
Okay.
That'll be all.
Let's talk about what we've been playing. Brandon, you're up first.
So I bought the extra fancy version of Forza Horizon 6. So I got to play a little bit early. It worked out with my schedule that I was home a little bit before the release window. Didn't get to play the full 4 days early, but did play the 3 leading up to it. So, yeah, this game's awesome, amazing. The Japanese setting is something that's been asked for a long time. Forza being one of the most paramount and important car games in my gaming repertoire of all time, right up there with Need for Speed in my early years. So absolutely massive, man. It's super good. The soundtrack is absolutely banging. I was talking to Dave about that. Super, super clean looking. The way they built the map, it kind of pays homage to Japan, but isn't like a one-to-one by any means. They add in some really interesting quirks here and there. I think the pacing of this game is really good. I think that sometimes, well, other times in Horizon games, they've kind of given you free reign right away. They just drop you into the world, and it can be like a lot to take in at once. I don't really need that to be like, as an experienced player, but I think it'll be good for a lot of people that haven't played this game before to kind of get an idea of, how to path forward. A lot of quality of life things they added to, just really interesting things. And I guess my only big critique for the game is that it is a lot like the other games. Plain and simple. They have a formula. It works. There are not a lot of things that are fundamentally different from the other games in the past 5 years, 6 years, right? And I think that's something that's very good about the game, and I think that that's something moving forward I want to see them change. The menus for customizing and all of the customization options have essentially stayed the same for, I think, the past 3 or 4 games, which is good. It works well. It looks good. It's solid, right? But I would like to see in the next one it kind of get, taken up a notch or changed in some way. So, yeah, that's my really only complaint with the game at all. There's some really, really fun things. One of the things that I think is the funniest is you play as a delivery driver for some of it in a K truck, or a J truck, one of those little electric trucks, the tiny motorbike ones. And of course, it's all pimped out. It's like stanced out and shit, and it goes like 1,000,000 miles an hour. So that's kind of fun. And the drifting's really top notch. But yeah, I think that's my only real complaint. It has everything a Forza game should have: a fuck ton of cars, like a fuck ton, over 500, like 550 some at launch, which is huge. Gorgeous, runs really well, even on my Series X, which is where I have most of my playtime. Sounds good. The sound design has also had an upgrade when moving around in the space. They changed the way the cars sound. And yeah, just action packed from front to back. So it doesn't really iterate super heavily on the formula, which I think, like I said, is good and bad. But it's just another solid entry and is actually exactly what I wanted. So
Very nice. I want to play it. I don't know when I'm going to. And honestly, like, I really like Forza games. I like racing games in general, but I don't know if I like it $70 worth. Like, I don't know if I'd play it long enough to get my value out of it. I think if I do Game Pass for a month,
yeah,
I'm gonna play it as like a ton and then be okay with being done with it.
yeah.
But yeah, I really like Forza games. I really like racing games, but I also know that it's not something I'm gonna usually come back to
Right.
long term. So I'll check it out. Dave, how about you?
What have I been playing, or am I playing Forza?
You can answer both.
Okay, so part of me wanted to wait.
I meant what have you been playing, but
Okay, so part of me wanted to wait until Forza comes to PlayStation, but I'm not so sure anymore that's going to happen with all the shakeups. But I'll play it eventually. I don't know why. I'm just not interested at this time, but I know I'll come around and be really into it. And Brandon he slid into my DMs earlier this week, and I got a little excited. So I don't know. Maybe I'll jump in sooner than I think, but. I the only thing I've been playing this week is Battlefront 2. A YouTuber I watch was playing it for
Drake.
No, T-Dog Smitty, really good Call of Duty YouTuber I really like. And because he hates Black Ops 7 so much this year, all he's been doing is playing other games. And the title of each one of his videos is I quit COD to play insert video game here. And he made one for Battlefront 2 for Star Wars Day a couple weeks ago. And I was just watching his video. I really like T-Dog Smitty. He's a really entertaining guy, but I'm just watching him play and I'm like, man, this game looks so much fun. And I'm very familiar with Battlefront. But I never played Battlefront 2 when it came out, and I was like, I know this game regularly goes on sale for sub $10, and it appears a lot of people are still playing it. And I don't know if it's just my algorithm, but suddenly I'm seeing lots and lots of stuff about Battlefront 2. There's a resurgence day planned for this Saturday to get people back playing it, get the servers peaked up a little bit. And I've been playing at various different times of the day throughout the last week, and I can always find a match. Sometimes you got to wait a little bit, but people are still playing this game. I think the biggest thing I've taken away from it is I know it's kind of like a Star Wars Battlefield game, but I think what I enjoy about it more than Battlefield is it's kind of a little bit more of a dumbed down version. Like, it's more arcadey. You can jump in and play, and matches don't have to last 30 minutes. I know that there's modes in Battlefield games that are more close quarters and they're shorter games, but I think by and large the majority of the games I've played in Battlefront, like, I can rattle off 2 or 3 matches in 30 minutes, and I appreciate that about it. So I'm gonna make an effort to play this Saturday to resurge the servers along with everybody else. But yeah, if you've been thinking about Battlefront and want to jump back in, like, people are still playing this game. So and kudos to Drake doing God's work, trying to prompt EA to make Battlefront 3, because people want more Battlefront, I think.
I'm going to check something real quick to make sure my memory is correct. Okay, and then... So I had... In 2013, my first son was born. I was playing a ton of games before that and then started playing more on computer stuff I could like hold him while he was asleep. In 2015, my second son was born. I didn't have a lot of time in between that to play video games, especially on console. But Battlefield 2 or Battlefront 2 was coming out, and I didn't have a console that could play it, or at least not the one that could play it as well. And I ended up finding an Xbox One at Sam's Club with a Battlefront 2 package on clearance because they were trying to get rid of it, even though Battlefront 2 it came out that day. And I ended up buying it for like, I don't know, it was like $180 or something like that. Battlefront 2 made me buy an Xbox One, is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
It's not really relevant. That's my memory of that game.
And Forza Horizon 6 made Brandon finally play his Xbox. So these two stories are tied together. There we go.
It's true.
Yeah.
Xbox is back, baby.
Yeah, your Master Chief Xbox.
Yeah.
Did you have to go looking for it?
No, I always have it out, and I use it a bunch. I just use it to stream my PC.
Oh, that's right.
So I don't actually play like it. I use it as a conduit.
Yeah.
I use it to summon my PC from the other room. Like
Radix says, why is Dave the only one on the panel actually spitting tonight?
probably because he's Canadian.
No.
It's like
gotta
that most nights, Radek. You know that. Come on.
He's spitting because he's got a bad taste in his mouth.
Let Dave
Detroit.
host, right, Radek? Let Dave host. So I've been playing a little bit of Mina the Hollower. I have a friend who sent me over an early code. And it's really, really beautiful. And I personally think it's really hard. Not so hard that I'm like not playing it or don't want to play it, but I think it's tougher than Shovel Knight, which is they're not hard games. They're just like very precise. And I didn't really know what Mina was going to be like until I started playing it. I'm having a good time with it, but in full transparency, I've only played it for like an hour and a half, maybe touching on 2 hours. I don't have a lot to say about it. I don't think I'm actually allowed to talk about it in full until later. Like the previews went out and everything, so we can mention that a few things. But I think that this is an outstanding game that is a big departure from Shovel Knight. And I think that's going to be really cool, really good for it, because if they can succeed in multiple genres, even if it took them a decade, I think that's going to be a really good indication of future games they make, providing they don't have any more shakeups like they did with, previously last year, where they talked about a lot about the some of the financial troubles and stuff that they had. I think that Mina is going to disappoint some people because it's not Shovel Knight 2. And I don't mean literally Shovel Knight 2. I just mean it's a different genre of game. I saw some people saying it was a Souls-like. I don't think it's a Souls-like, but it's definitely more like it's tough and it's precision-based. And timing is really important with a lot of the combat. The exploration, in my opinion, is a little more obtuse than I would prefer. Getting to other places is a little more obtuse, but I don't think that's a problem with the game. I think that's a problem with me. I'm stupid when it comes to certain stuff like this. So I think it's beautiful. It's very well done, even in this not 100% final version that I'm playing. I think it's really nice, but I think I should have more to talk about it after full release, when I'm allowed to like fully give a critique on it. I'm planning on playing some more between now and then. So that's the wrap on that. I wrote down another game that I actually looked up the date afterwards. I'm not allowed to talk about that one yet. That my well, I won't even say who sent it to me because that would give it away. And then the third thing is Subnautica 2. I was crippling under the pressure of seeing everyone in the world play Subnautica 2 except for me. And I thought, I'm going to buy this game eventually. Brandon, you're shaking your head.
You just wait, dude. I'm gonna wait. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I thought I'm going to buy this game eventually because I want to play it with Brandon. Because we talked we even tried to play the first one with a mod.
We tried.
But this one is actually set up for multiplayer.
It looks so good, bro.
So I went ahead and bought it. I've put like, I don't know, probably 8 or 10 hours into it. Maybe a little less than that, because I know one time I left it on while I went to take care of something. And it's so good. It does seem largely like a very much like Subnautica, like the original Subnautica, except with a few more bells and whistles. If you really like those first couple games, you're really going to like this one. It's still in very early access. They're talking about doing early access for 3 years. There's a lot of zones I've run into that don't seem that far away that are already like telling me this is you're out of early access area, and I immediately get gobbled up by a monster. So that's not a ton of fun, but I'm liking a lot what they've done with it. They've kept many of the things that we appreciated the same, but they've added some stuff that like quality of life stuff that is really cool. I did get to a point last night where I was like, oh, this is like the end of early access. Like the point I got to was like the end of early access. And at that point I thought, you know what, maybe I should just set this down now and play something else and come back to this after an update or something like that, rather than burning myself out all at the beginning. Which I think is what I'm going to do. I might play it once or twice more, but for the most part, what I really want from a Subnautica game is like extensive exploration, which it doesn't quite have yet because not all the zones are there, and the ability to build a lot. Like I love building in Subnautica, and I love building in all games that have building. And you can do that. It seems like it's fairly robust and built out, but then when you go to explore, you get hit with like limits in different directions. So I think I'm probably going to end up waiting a little bit more, but I've really enjoyed my time with it so far. I'm just not sure that I love early access games. I play them all the time, but this is one where I'm like, I think I maybe should have waited for this one. And that's not me. I don't usually feel that way. Siri, stop it. I'm not talking to you. Anyway, Brandon, you're like nodding along and saying and like agreeing with a lot of stuff I'm saying. Have you seen this kind of sentiment about the game?
Yeah. I watched Peanut play almost the whole thing.
Okay.
In fact, I watched him get to the screen that says like this is the end of the story of early access. So, yeah, after watching him play it for a little bit, I was like, maybe I shouldn't because I am going to play this. But then seeing how limited it was, I was like, and the roadmap was so far out. By the time I play it, it's not going to matter. I'm not going to remember what I even saw then. I was just having fun watching him. So yeah, I saw enough to know that one, it was limited enough that I would just be angry that I couldn't play more of it. So for that reason, and the fact that it's nowhere close to being that, 3 years of early access, maybe in 2 years, or a year and a half when it's almost fully flushed out, because I feel like it doesn't need to be in 1.0, but it needs to be closer than what it is right now for me to jump in.
Yeah. Yeah, this is probably the first. I'm not going to say I got burned by it. I think what I played was a great experience and I'm not unhappy. But I think this is the first time I felt kind of burned by being there at the start.
Yeah.
Normally I'm very okay with that. Like, man, we played Sons of the Forest like the day it came out, and it was not anywhere near ready, and then we never went back to it, but we finished what was there, and I feel like I got my money's worth out of that game. With Subnautica 2, I'm like, man, I should have just waited. But hey, I have it. I can play it whenever they do updates.
Yeah.
And we can play together at some point. Maybe Dave will have a computer by then. He's just staring at me. Not going to have a computer by then?
Sorry, I don't know if my mic is working right now.
It's not.
I will never have it.
Yeah.
That's fine. I mean, I can hear you.
I can hear you. It just sounds like you're. Can you say, everyone make sure your seatbelts are fastened?
Dave, are you in a cave? Dave.
Arms and legs are in the car at all times.
Help me.
On that note, I think we're out of here. That's what we've been playing. That's the news for the week. I don't have anything else to say. Either of you boys have anything else to say? Dave, down there, can you hear us? Do you have anything? Anybody else? Good? All right, well, say goodbye to Brandon for another 6 weeks.
For another 6 weeks.
That actually might not be an underestimate because your schedule's kind of like on a rolling basis now. So
yeah, we'll figure it out. I'll probably be able to be back for 1 or 2 here in a couple weeks. So
cool. Radix says, good show. Dave carried per usual. Dave was the only one with really bad opinions and his mic disconnected. So I don't really know, Radic, what you're getting at, but appreciate everybody for being here. Radic, thanks again for the super chat at the beginning of the show. Check us out on Patreon. Hang out with us on Discord. And we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Goodbye.